Capital One tends to approve people with lower credit scores or people that are earlier on in their credit card journey. With the Amex Trifecta, it's pretty expensive setup because you're including the Amex Platinum in it, for instance, and the American Express Gold card, so the fees can get up close to $1,000. Whereas the Capital One Venture Rex and Capital One Saver One have a combined fee that's much lower, like a third of the total annual fee of the Amex Trifecta.
I've been a huge fan of Capital One for various reasons, not just credit cards, as they let you people get auto loans and things of that sort. We talk about that type of stuff with our YouTube members all the time. But listen, you're pretty much saying they're stepping up their credit card game and just smashing the competition. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a couple of reasons for that, a couple of reasons that I made that video. So first reason for that is most people are familiar with the Chase Trifecta. A lot of people are familiar with the American Express Trifecta. Some of those different combinations and setups that can really take your, overall setup to the next level by, having some sort of combination of cards that get you some outsized value. But one thing that's really taking the storm and really getting a lot of popularity recently, and for good reason in my opinion, is the Capital One Duo, which is basically the combination of the Capital One Venture Rex and the Capital One Saver One. And I think that the Capital One Duo is a huge rival to the Chase Trifecta and Amex Trifecta. And for different types of people can actually be the optimal setup and the best setup that you can have, a lot of which is because of the simplicity of it. So instead of 3 cards to start with, it's just 2, and there's straightforward and simple ways to get value from it. So the Capital One Venture X and Capital One Saver One have a combination annual fee of $395, which is just on the Venture X. And the Venture X has specific credits that you'll actually get on that card every year, which can get you more value than the fee if you simply use 2 credits. So all you got to do is use 2 credits, and you're going to get more value than the fee on that 2-card Capital One Duo setup every single year.
Now, here's the deal. You're going to ruffle some feathers, man, because you just talked about, how people feel about American Express in general. And then especially we're talking about having the trifecta in place, the hard work that people do to get the ultimate Chase Trifecta as well, too. Now, here's the thing. Now, with Capital One, obviously, now, how did you find out that this card would be the one to kind of keep an eye on in general?
Yeah, great question. So I would say there's a couple facets to it. So for one, Amex Trifecta, Chase Trifecta can be great for certain types of people, but there's always going to be downsides to everything. And some of the downsides with both of those setups are actually solved with the Capital One Venture X. So for instance, with the Amex Trifecta, it's pretty expensive setup because you're including the Amex Platinum in it, for instance, and the American Express Gold card. So the fees can get up close to $1,000. Whereas the Capital One Venture Rex and Capital One Saver One have a combined fee that's much lower, like a third of the total annual fee of the Amex Trifecta. And then a lot of times the Chase Trifecta, which is great, and I have the Chase Trifecta myself, so I love it as well. But the Capital One Duo is just a little bit more simple to use. The Chase Trifecta, you got a couple different things you got to do to make sure you're getting value out of it. A lot of people in the credit card game value the simplicity, and the simplicity is super present within the Capital One Duo because you already have no annual fee on the Capital One Saver One, and then you have an annual fee on the Venture X, but you have a very specific way with a $300 travel credit and 10,000 bonus miles every year that are going to specifically, all you got to do is use those 2 benefits and you'll get more value than the fee. And 2 things aren't that many things to have to remember to use in 1 year. And that's all you got to do to make sure that you're getting value, more value than the fee every year.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing because you know what? You touched on a good point. A lot of people, they talk about these annual fees and they want these types of credit cards. They want these credit cards. They say, okay, I'm going to use it this way. I can easily get the value, get the benefits out of it. But what you're saying is that you could do that same exact thing, if not less, and then go with something like Capital One. And then, of course, not only get those benefits out of it, but you end up probably getting a lot more. And not only that, but I'm thinking also, too, Capital One is a little bit easier to get approved for. So you don't have to worry about, of course, I'm sure, of course, Chase's, they're well known for their 524 rule and things of that sort. And I'm sure everyone has some sort of that. But, Capital One's always been one of the easier cards to get approved for as well, too. Would you say so?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And especially Capital One tends to approve people with lower credit scores or people that are earlier on in their credit card journey. So that's why something like the Capital One Duo could be a good target for someone that's a little bit earlier on. So especially if maybe you have your eyes on the Amex Trifecta sometime down the road, actually going in and getting the Capital One Duo first is going to be really beneficial because sometimes there's actually been some data points of people with higher credit scores that haven't been able to get approved for the Capital One Duo, because simply a lot of times they approve people who are a little bit, earlier on in their journeys or just have a little bit lower credit scores. So the Capital One Duo is definitely a priority that I think a lot of people should have on their bucket list when they're starting their credit card journeys.
A lot of people, they have these credit cards, but they're not sure exactly, which ones they should kind of go for, or they're thinking that, these certain cards may be better than others, when you may be fine just keeping it, what you got, especially if you already have these cards in place. Thanks again so much, Matt, for stopping by the channel today. We greatly appreciate you giving this information to the audience.
Yeah, super appreciate you having me on. Love talking about this stuff. So thank you so much for inviting me to speak here.
Absolutely, guys. And listen, if you want to learn more about credit cards or Capital One, make sure you guys go ahead and check out this next video.